Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel, Ever Evolving Emily, where we discuss the ability to change, evolve, and manifest. So, there is just a couple things I definitely wanted to touch on today, things that have been like really on my mind and my heart to talk about. So, you know, I was watching a YouTube video and content on the quantum leap and jumping into basically what I think, if I understand this correctly, jumping into the version of yourself that you really want to be, jumping into that version of yourself. And I do love that concept of telling yourself a new story and sticking to it. I mean, it sounds kind of childish, right? But like, that's my story and I'm sticking to it, right? So I've had this thought and recently, and in this within this video I watched, I really love this YouTuber. Within this video I watched, she kind of described like just jumping into yourself, jumping into that version of yourself, making that decision, and that's it. So, and I really love that, but I also kind of have felt a couple things in the past that I want to talk about. And maybe if you were like me, where you have experienced experienced these things, like being too hard on yourself, like what happens, like, yes, I 100% feel it's so important to like tell yourself a new story, to stick with it, and to know that it's yours. Like that story is yours, and these are things I'm working on. And when you are in alignment with your self concept first, I do feel and believe that's when the miracles start to happen. That's when this beautiful synchronicities of life start to just flow your way. When you are manifesting, when you're centered within yourself, it's like you're a magnet, and the things that you want just flow to you, and they surprise you, and it's amazing to experience because I have been experiencing it quite a bit myself. For today's video, I really wanted to talk about being kind to yourself, especially when you are doing intentional manifestation. And just in life in general, be kind to yourself. It literally doesn't really do much good to sit there and want things and want something. Um, to do intentional manifesting where like you maybe really want something in your life, or maybe it's a person, or maybe it's money, or maybe it's traveling, maybe it's your dream home, and then to like be really hard on yourself and to tell yourself like you can't have it, to like hate on yourself for having doubt or fear around it. That really doesn't make sense, right? So you can have anything. And like, if I've watched so many amazing YouTubers say this, and especially people who are talking about law of attraction and manifesting. Like, you can have anything. And so, especially like, I know I've mentioned Dylan James before. I love everything he says. So, it just doesn't make sense to want something and then tell yourself repeatedly, like, why you can't have it, right? I really want to talk about being kind to yourself, because what I was doing, especially when I started to actually A, know what I wanted, and to B, start scripting about it, writing about it, dreaming about it, daydreaming about it, visualizing, using, those using that imagery repeatedly. First of all, I told myself it was okay. I like gave myself permission to want what I wanted. That's it. I gave myself permission to really want what I wanted. There's this beautiful question that I believe Amanda Francis asks in one of her books, Rich AF. And it's like an exercise, like write down what you want, be unapologetic about it. Like, if no one would get mad at you, like if no one would, you know, hate on you for, if no one would get mad at you, if you didn't feel any guilt about it, what would you want? So first of all, I just really decided on things. I've started to really decide on things that I wanted. And when it comes to manifesting, I was experiencing this kind of like I was being really hard on myself. And I think that has to do with maybe my self concept and alignment, and like my personal perfectionism issues that I have, not feeling perfect enough, etc. But, you know, what I really want to communicate is there's like three people that I came across that like made me go, oh, I can have what I want. I can get what I want. Um, for some reason, like I will always try to I like to give credit where credit is due. I like to tell you to go watch certain people's videos because they've helped me so much, and if they help me so much, they can help you so much. So, I'm not in this scarcity mindset where you should only watch my videos, like absolutely not. go explore, go do homework, enjoy. So that being said, I was just consistently in this mindset of like when I finally decided on certain things that I wanted, whether that's money, which I'm still working on, and just like little things, maybe has to do with like my love life or personal things that I want. First of all, I gave myself permission. Then I started working on my self concept on the regular. And then I started to be really kind to myself because what I was doing repeatedly was saying things to myself like, oh, you're not meditating enough. You're not staying in alignment with your story enough. You're not, right? Like these are all I'm not enough statements. So, and I actually did the same thing, unfortunately, like when I was really working on my faith. I would say things to myself like, oh, you're not praying enough, you're not going to church enough, or you're not like these those things to me, consistently telling myself I'm not enough for whatever reason, I've stopped doing that. That is not, you know, and that those are not thoughts that come from God for me. They're just not. Those are I don't know where those thoughts come from, but I'm not going to keep them. I'm going to send them away with love. So when I'm talking about like being really kind to yourself, I think we have invasive thoughts or we get thoughts like we're not enough. And I think it's okay to approach this in a couple different ways. Number one, recognizing the thought and telling it that thought has no power over me. That thought literally has absolutely 100% no power over me. It's over. I'm disregarding it. No more. It could be an event or an experience where like you're kind of like ruminating on it and you're like hating on yourself for it. Again, I think treat it with kindness and love and like really decide if it's going to have any power in your life. That happened yesterday or this is happening. Nope, I'm not going to pay attention to that. My story is this. This is my story and I'm sticking to it. This is my story. I'm sticking to it. This is the new story I am sticking to. Period. Because I was telling myself like all of these negative things, like, and being really hard on myself. I'm not staying in alignment. Ugh, I'm not like doing enough like affirmations. I'm not. None of that. None of that was serving me, or like when I was affirming, I do think it's really important I do like affirming, but I like to feel behind it. And, there's a couple of things I really want to mention. If you take anything home with you from this video, this is it. So when I realized, like, gosh, Emily, you are being so hard on yourself. Why? 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 You are good enough. You are doing it. You're working on it. Just let it be. You're doing a good job. You are doing a good job. You're doing the mirror work. You're telling yourself that you love yourself. You're staying in alignment with that. I'm safe. I'm secure. I'm stable. I'm chosen. I'm loved. I chose, regardless of anything that was happening in my 3D, I chose to stay in alignment with those statements. I loved, like, when I wake up in the morning, saying good morning to God and then like going through a few things that I say to myself and then also asking myself like what's the ideal version of myself I can be today. That's something I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza say, I think. Like what's the ideal version I can be of myself today? How can Emily be her best Emily today? How can I become my own dream girl today? So instead of like, waking up and saying like all these negative statements to myself, I just started to decide like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start to like say really kind things to myself and be really gentle with myself. So, a couple of, actually, I think three YouTubers that I've kind of been watching, bear in mind too that like nobody told me to be hard on myself. Nobody told me to be that way. That is just something that like came from within. And unfortunately, I felt like it had really continued to stay with me because, oh, Emily, you have to be hard on yourself. Emily, you have to be really hard on yourself. Emily, you have to like in order to get what you want in life, you have to work super hard for it and you only get it after you've worked really hard for it. We all do this. We all think we have to work so hard. We all think that we have to like beat ourselves up and that we don't deserve it unless we do that. That's to me is like one of the ultimate lies. That's not true. I have received money, especially before, without doing anything, barely anything, to receive it. I won the lotto, like baby lotto. We'll call it baby lottos, twice in January. I manifested that. Like I did, I won $500 twice in January, and that literally kept me afloat. So, but when I decided I don't have to, I can just accept it. I can just like let this come into my life, please and thank you. Ah, it showed up. So again, it's like nobody told me I had to be hard on myself. Nobody told me I had to say these like harsh statements to myself. That was just coming from me, like my own personal perfectionism issues. It was just all coming from me. So there are three people, three YouTubers that I've seen more recently that kind of gave me some aha moments, and those are the things I really want to talk about today. So uh, Amy Westmoreland from who has her channel Illuminating Joy, Veronica Isles, and there's another YouTuber, and I'm so sorry I can't remember his channel's name, but his name is Michael. So anyway, in the midst of me being so hard on myself and like having doubt within me wanting to like intentionally manifest love, money, I've decided I really want to intentionally manifest in my life. I intentionally want to co-create. I am co-creating as we speak. I am setting intentions and visualizing and all that good stuff. So, but anyway, I kind of like had this mindset or like frame of mind that like I have to be super happy all the time in order to manifest. I have to be super happy all the time. I have to like be in gratitude 100% of the time in order to manifest. And I can't like stray from that. So I was watching one channel, and this YouTuber, he said like basically like, no, you don't have to be happy all the time. And I was like, really? Oh, that's great, because I'm really struggling to be happy all the time. I actually do think like I've had some amazing moments coming out of the blues. Like sometimes when we have the blues or like stress, I do think like it launches us into what we need to feel, we need to do, how we need to take action. And also, we're human. We're just fucking human. So can we just say, not beat ourselves up for feeling, maybe a little sad over something? Can we not beat ourselves up and tell ourselves like, oh, I'm not vibe at a vibrational perfection today, and just like accept it and be okay with it? So, I think his channel, I'll link it below, but, and then, I can't remember exactly what video it was. I'll try to find it. But, in a nutshell, when someone else said, like, you don't have to be happy 100% of the time to receive your manifestation. You don't have to be in this like crazy, heightened state all the time in order to receive your manifestation. You can just be happy. You can just be a little chill. Like, oh, that actually felt so much better to me. When I've had doubt, like I was really beating myself up, like, ugh, like I'm never gonna get my manifestation if I keep doubting it. I have so much doubt over like, can I really get this? Can I? And sometimes, like for whatever reason, like how certain people were saying things, maybe it wasn't like resonating with me. Like this whole phrase, like, I can get what I want. I can get what I want. I was like, really? Can I? I can have it all? For whatever reason, when I was watching when I was watching Illuminating Joy, and when I was watching Veronica Isles' channel, it's for whatever reason when I watched both of them and Dylan James, it's basically like I was like, oh, I can get what I want. I can receive. I can. So you just never know, like how someone is going to say something. Maybe like it'll resonate with you a certain way. So anyway, I was just really hating on myself, like with all this doubt and like negativity, and it was like I felt like I was trying so hard to change the story, and I do think I was like definitely on the right track, but beating myself up, telling myself I'm not enough, telling myself I'm not doing enough, or I'm not staying on track, or I'm not, so like when I decided and when I heard them say, especially like on in Amy's channel Illuminating Joy, she has so many wonderful shorts. And one of her shorts, she said something along the lines of like, she's created these loopholes. Like, even though I have all this doubt, I can still get my manifestation. Ugh, I can still get what I want, even though I have this doubt. I mean, like, music to my ears. I think another one she said is, like, I want it. I don't need it, but I want it. I don't need it, but I want it. And also, there was something that I really wanted, and I noticed I was like on the fence with wanting it. And then I just simply decided, and I said, no, I want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I want this. And she created the most amazing video. And I think it was something along the lines of, right, like one of my friends would say to me, it's always this or something better. That didn't really resonate with me because I was like, really? That means I don't get what I want. And that didn't feel good to me. But when I was watching Illuminating Joy, Amy's channel, she said, it's this and something better. Like she created these loopholes and like, so I was using them. And wouldn't you know it, I got what I want and I feel like I'm getting something better. I kind of stuck to my guns and was like, this is what I want. This is what I want right now. And I want to experience this. And maybe down the road, I'll elaborate on this example. But really, why do we compromise on what we want? Oh, it's usually because we think we actually don't deserve it. It's usually because, like, you might think you don't deserve it. Or, that's just not meant to be. Well, no. I said to myself, like, this is what I want, and it's meant to be. This is what I want. Please and thank you to God, the universe. Please support me in this. This is what I want. And when I decided that this was what I wanted, and I'm not going to compromise, not right now, this is what I want. If you haven't seen Amy's channel, Illuminating Joy, I highly suggest to go watch some of her videos because I just, I really felt like her videos were so down to earth and just so like, oh, like all these loopholes. I suddenly stopped like hating on myself for having self doubt or having doubt at all or having fear or having like any harsh feelings about anything. I just stopped hating on it. And like money is something I'm working on. So like, deciding on a number and then saying it is mine. Not this number, not this number, this number. This number is mine. That is something I'm working on. I can get this money even though I have doubt. Even though I have doubt, I can get this money. Even though I have doubt, this money is coming to me. I don't I don't need this money, but I want this money. When I have heard this stuff, like heard this being said like so down to earth and so gently, I was like, "Oh, pff, Emily, you can get what you want. You can." So, you know, I'm still working and like a work in progress, and that's how my channel is going to be. But legit, like it's very much like I've decided on things, and I decided not to compromise. This is what I want. This is what I want right now. And no, I don't feel like compromising on it. I want this and something better. I want this and something better. I want this, and maybe it will evolve into something better. So I just loved watching Amy's videos because I felt so much like, "Ah, finally, like I don't have to compromise on what I want. I don't have to settle on what I want. I don't have to apologize for what I want." So these are all things I'm working on continuously. And I plan to talk about like a little bit more on like what these specific things are. But for now, I just wanted to say be kind to yourself and know that you can have it. And go watch Amy's channel because it's just so lovely, so down to earth, so amazing. And for me, I was like, oh, pff, I can get what I want. Even though I have doubt, it's okay. Even though I have fear over it, it's okay. I can still get what I want. I can still get what I want, even though I have like uncertainty going on up here. And then when I started to be so much kinder to myself, guess what? It was like that's when magic started to happen. And also, I felt like I was becoming more in alignment with my own self concept because I was being kind to myself, period. And so that brings me to my next point, which is Veronica Isles' channel. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But, she has said a few things to me that really, or like in general, that just it's really resonated with me. Like, instead of being so harsh on yourself about affirming, like gently affirm, gently affirm. I was like, really? I can do this gently? I don't have to like beat it into my into my brain. But yeah, I can like gently affirm. And also like going back to Amy's channel, like especially like maybe knowing that like my reality, my 3D, I can get what I want regardless of my 3D right now. That was a good one. Like basically, like especially I feel like maybe I want to change my living circumstances. There's things that I really want to change. And knowing that I can be right here where I am, present moment, and know that things are no, law of assumption, knowing, and know that all of the changes like this 3D is temporary. So it's like it's all going to shift because I know it is. And I can get what I want regardless of like what's here now. When I was watching Veronica's channel, um, you know, the idea of being kind to yourself, of like gently affirming instead of like, feeling like I have to like repeat it to the point of I do think repetition does dissolve disbelief 100%. I do. I do think it is good to persist, but I think it's good to also like be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, and be gentle with your affirmations. I think so. When we're talking about like the quantum leap, or you want to completely change into this new version of yourself, what happens if you can't do it overnight, right? Like, what happens if you slip back? All I'm saying is like I have so many tools in my toolbox now that like when I do slip back, I'm not hating on myself for it anymore. Okay. So I slip back a little bit. Okay. How are we going to move forward? I'm being more kind to myself when it comes to like all my affirmations and like how I'm talking to myself. I'm being a lot kinder to myself about it instead of, gently affirming. And guess what? My life is changing. Like I really do feel that. I've seen it. I'm noticing it. I'm noticing all the synchronicities. I'm noticing all the miracles, little ones, little ones that are coming into my life, and also this is another point that I really wanted to make in this video, which is like the term being a magnet, being magnetic. I was really lost with that for a long time. And like when I would say to myself, I am a magnet for money, I'm a magnet for this, I'm a magnet for that, it fell flat for me. And I'm not saying that like I do think saying those things, regardless of like my level of belief in them, I do think saying those things really did help me. But because I didn't kind of quite understand like how to feel like a magnet, again, Amy's channel really helped me with this. It was like, when you're picturing it in your mind, you're summoning it to you. And I think Veronica's channel really helped me to like when I felt because I'm doing her course on self-love, when I feel so much self-love, and when I feel it during meditation and things like that, I am, oh, it's things are coming to me. Things are coming to me. So this idea that like this is what I want, I'm projecting it onto the screen of the universe. If I'm saying any of this right, but I'm projecting it. This is what I want. And then wouldn't you know it, it's coming to me. It's coming into my life. Whether that's money or like, things in my personal life. It really is incredible to know, oh, like being a magnet means you're summoning it. You're bringing it to you. So sometimes I feel like I've really needed like manifestation for dummies, like love for dummies or money for dummies. Sometimes I have felt like I really needed these things. My self-concept for dummies, I mean, I'm laughing, but it's just it's almost like when I had to learn long division. Like I'm actually a very smart individual, and my degree is in oboe performance, and I wanted to be an orchestra my whole life, so I can literally play one of the hardest instruments out there. And but doing math was always a really big problem for me. Pardon the pun. But I remember like my mom explaining long division to me, and it took her all night, and then finally I was like, oh, now I get it all of a sudden. So that to me is like learning anything. It takes time, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it. Years ago, I read The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And that book really did explain a lot as far as like law of least effort, I think law of assumption, all the laws were in there. It's just that the concept was kind of like, I was like, oh, there's this field of possibilities. I mean, now, and like if you listen to Abraham Hicks, you're like, that's the vortex, so you're like listening, and I'm listening and observing. And now I'm like, oh, like there is a field of all possibilities where everything is possible. Everything is possible. So anyway, sometimes I do feel it's just the way one person might explain it versus somebody else. And I feel like when you're gentle with yourself, when you're kind to yourself, when you're gentle with your self concept, and like when you're gentle with like telling yourself the new story, when you create the loopholes of like, I can have what I want even though I have doubt. Even though I have doubt, I can still get what I want. I can still get what I want no matter what. I don't I don't need it, but I want it. And when you decide on what you want, it's pretty phenomenal when you actually decide on what you want. And when you give yourself permission and you say, this is what I want. No, I'm not willing to compromise. This is what I'm asking for. It's literally so incredible to watch all these little miracles come into your life. That being said, I I do think there's something to being kind to yourself. I do think there's something to be said for being very gentle with yourself, especially when you're doing like intentional manifestation. And if you're sitting there like saying like when, like in my, and I say this very kindly, like if you're sitting here saying like when is this going to happen? When is this person going to text me? Um when is the money going to come here? When is the money going to be here? I encourage you to shift that focus back to your self concept, because I'm really serious. Every time I have shifted my focus from like the outside to inside, my inside me, and like into my self concept, and when I stay focused on myself and my self concept and my self love, I promise you this shit's just gonna take care of itself. It's just simply amazing what I've been experiencing. Like when you decide to focus inward, the universe will take care of it. When you stick to your story, when you find your story and you're sticking to it, it's going to take care of itself. you know and also, like, I mean, if you want, when we think about scripture, even, and ask, believe, receive, you know I have picked up scripture, and it does say to ask, and then believe with all your heart, and forgive everybody. Just forgive everybody for all their faults. Easier said than done, I get it. I actually really, I'm going to be doing a video on forgiveness and how I learned and taught myself and like kind of healed over some wounds. And I chose to forgive. And when you choose to forgive, you're really doing it for yourself. You just choose to forgive, and you let go of that baggage, and you say, no more. I'm choosing myself, and I choose to forgive. And then it's okay. Like, then I really felt like it was okay to ask for what I wanted, and to know that, and to know law of assumption, to know it was coming to me. When I manifested the money of winning the lotto, I was literally like, please and thank you. I know it's done. And I had no resistance to that like $500 that came into my life twice in January. That's a true story. I said, God, please send me $500, not for my job. I don't care where it comes from, but please send me an extra $500 this month. I did have a little extra in the bank, and I did play the lotto. And when I said that, like, prayer, was like, please and thank you. And I had no resistance around it. Like, how amazing was that? So, just to recap, no, you don't have to be, in my opinion, you don't have to be like, yes, it's good to be happy. It's good to be happy, happier. It's good to know what brings you joy. Like, is it just as simple as going to the gym? Is it just as simple as going for a walk in the morning? Is it just as simple as like doing something kind for somebody else? But like maybe it's like your skincare routine, or like, what is your self-care that makes you feel good about you? What brings you joy? I think it's really good to know what brings you joy, and to do those things more often than not, because you're just going to be in a state of being happier more often than not. And then also gratitude, like being grateful for every single thing that you have, being grateful for everybody in your life, being grateful and saying thank you for undesirable circumstances. Yes, because that undesirable circumstance is going to launch you into something, into something better. out of this, there's Louise Hayes, I think, says like out of this circumstance or out of this situation, she's gonna, it's like something better will come of it. I am safe, I am secure, all is well. Knowing I don't have to be over the top happy all the time, knowing I can just be happy, accepting when I'm not, understanding I'm going to experience conflict. I am going to experience it. It happens. Guess what? I still got my manifestation, even though I was experiencing conflict, even though I may have been experiencing some doubt or nervousness. I still got my manifestation. And also, um, knowing though that like as I was focused so heavily on my own self concept, I was in a happier vibration, like in general. So yes, things were coming to me, but I stopped hating on myself for feeling anything that, was less than like super, super happy or like doubt or fear. I just stopped hating on myself for having those human emotions. But I can tell you that throughout those human emotions, I literally kept sticking to the new story. Nope, that doesn't matter. This is the story now. This is the story. This is the one I'm sticking to. This is what I want. And then I'm not going to settle for anything less. I'm getting this and something better. And again, I know I've talked about Dylan James so many times probably on my channel, but like, when he spelled it out for me, like it it doesn't make sense to want what you want and then tell yourself repeatedly that you can't have it. It doesn't. These desires are on your heart for a reason. Maybe it's whatever the desire is that's on your heart. It's on your heart for a reason. And it's okay, I think, to give yourself permission to want it. Like, this is the desire that's on my heart, and I want it. And not only do I want it, but I know I'm going to get it. And being in that knowing state, it's refreshing. The knowing state, it's kind of like, how do you know the sky is blue? You just know the sky is blue. So I know I'm going to get my manifestation. I'm going to get it no matter what. I'm going to get it regardless. I know I'm going to get what I want. I can be kind to myself. I can stay focused on my self concept, and me continuing to stay focused on my self concept, that also allows things to flow to me, because my ability to receive, especially like with self love, as I've stayed focused on my own personal self love, like in one of my other videos, I do talk about like how I put people, especially men, on pedestals. And when I discovered I need to stop doing that and like focus on myself, when I've continued to focus on myself, my life just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And what I'm experiencing and understanding and trusting that whatever I want, it's on its way to me and it's already done. How do I know? Because I know. Because how do you know the sky is blue? Because I know the sky is blue. That's how I know. When things were explained, like if you're obsessing over something, if you're obsessing over someone, if you're obsessing over what you want to manifest, in my opinion, and I've definitely done that, it's not healthy to do that. So, but how do you get out of that? How do you stop obsessing? It was very helpful for me to just say it's done and drop it. But I would still notice myself kind of like slipping back and slipping back. Um, but really these videos are kind of like, and learning to self-soothe, self-talk, learning to regulate myself, doing a lot of nervous system regulation, whether that's breath work, going to the gym, listening to content, praying. These are all things I've done to regulate my nervous system. And then also when I do that, I come back to the story that I want. I come back to it. And the whole point of all of this, that especially when it comes to manifesting, and this is a really sad truth, is that like I thought I didn't deserve it. It could have been about anything. Love, my career, money, and I'm still like yo-yoing a little bit with some of this stuff. And that's something I'm working on. I don't want to yo-yo anymore. I don't want to yo-yo with money. I don't want to yo-yo with my love life. I don't want to yo-yo with where I'm living or my career. I think trust is trust and trusting myself, trusting in my higher self, trusting in God, knowing that God has my best interest at heart and the universe has my back, understanding the laws that are around me. I'd probably use a combination of like it's a big combination of spirituality for me. It's my faith. It is my faith. Um and it's also ask, believe, receive. I've been really kind of not things are shifting with money, and I was getting very nervous with money. And I told myself this story. Emily, just maybe don't buy groceries for like a week or two. Just get like bare minimum groceries. Just don't. You're going to go through, you're going to cancel every single subscription, including your acting stuff. You're just going to make sure everything's canceled. And then you're going to watch how much gas money you're spending. And, so basically what I was doing like the past few weeks. Oh, and my storage unit in Los Angeles is going up. And I'm still in the Chicago area. So, I've been experiencing like things with money shifting not in the direction that I want it to. So I have one of two choices. I can either say to myself, like, oh my God, is it going to be enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? How am I going to have X amount of dollars to pay all my bills, this and that? I can stress myself out, or I can say, God always provides. The universe has my back. The money is coming to me. The money is on its way to me. I am experiencing an overflow of money. And the other morning I was like reading through, I have this like Catholic book of prayers, and I was really like just praying. I had this vision, and I've had these before, and it was literally like the vision of when Jesus fed. I'm not very good at describing scripture that I've read, but when the baskets go around and it's like fish and bread in the baskets and everybody gets enough. I had this vision of that happening, and so like, why am I not trusting that God is going to provide for me? Why am I not trusting that like when if I'm spending X amount of dollars, it's just going to come back to me extra? Why when I swipe my card for basic needs, why am I so stressed that like and not swiping it and saying thank you? Thank you. I have the money today. Thank you. Sometimes I've said things to myself like, I have the money today. Just today. I have it. It's there. So I was freaking out the other day, and then I forgot. I don't know. And then boom, money hit my bank account. I'm not going to say it was out of nowhere. It did come from my job, but I had forgotten it was payday. And because I was so stressed the day before over money, I freaked myself out over nothing. And then boom, the money hit my bank account the next day. So, we don't have to work super hard for money. It can come from anywhere. And that's stuff that I'm currently working on. I've started to like, as I've become more gentle and kind with myself, I'm manifesting more easily. And I'm really, really looking forward to telling you about that. But anyway, so I trust this video helped you. I'm gonna link um I'm gonna link below some of the channels that I watch that have helped me just tremendously. And I will probably do like a reel where I just like list people and their channels because bravo and thank you so much. Uh, my life is changing so much because of the knowledge I've been able to receive, and we know knowledge is power. So when I just sometimes I'm speechless because I know my life is going to be this and something better. It's always going to be this and something better. I think for me, a big struggle of mine was just to decide on what I want. And I'm still working on that. I'm still working through some of these things. I will probably always be working on this. Um, I'm also starting to build meditations. So I just launched my first meditation on chakra alignment the other day. So feel free to check that out. I'm going to be launching more meditations that stem from my yoga background, meditations for like healing, meditations on forgiveness, meditations on just having a good day. I literally have a list of about 30 to 50 different videos of content that I'm going to be creating. So please stay tuned for that. And it is really my wish and my hope that the content that I am creating, it helps you in your own life. I really geeked out this past year. And what I mean by that is like I literally stopped watching TV, which sounds so counterproductive because I'm an actor. But really, I unplugged my TV in my room and I chose. I was kind of like, enough is enough. I need to really focus in on myself. And I stopped watching TV. Maybe not 100%, but like no more binging. Hardly ever do I binge on TV. I literally will binge content. And I do that because it's like feeding my brain, it's feeding my soul, it's forcing me and helping me to look inward. Because if I want this to change, this has to change first. If I want my 3D to change, my reality, I'm the creator of my reality, I'm the operant power. If I want this to change, this has to come first. I've got to change within here first. Self concept first. Ask, believe, receive. Letting myself believe and receive first. As you decide to love yourself, look at the parts of yourself that you don't love. Look at the parts of yourself that you don't love, that you find hard to accept, whether that's a physicality or like personality wise within yourself. Look at something that you don't like, and flip the script. "Ugh, I actually really love this part of my body. I'm really grateful for this part of my body. This part of my body helps me to do A, B, C, and D. Ugh, I actually love this. I'm actually really grateful for this." See what happens when you start to tell yourself you love yourself, even the parts of you that are flaws. See what happens. And knowing, like when I first did a lot of changing, when you decide to change, I think the most important thing you can do is love all of yourself. Just love all of you. Because once you love yourself, you can change. Everything is possible. Once you truly love yourself, it's like just so many more doors open for you. It's amazing. And you can change and you can say, okay, I'm not on anybody's timeline. I don't have to change right away. This can take a little time, but this is gonna be my new story and I'm sticking to it. I love you, just like our thoughts, our invasive thoughts. I love you. Thank you for trying to protect me. I'm gonna send you back to love or wherever you came from. And now I'm gonna believe this about myself. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am enough. I am whole. I am complete. All on my own. Doesn't that feel so much better than all those negative statements that maybe you used to say to yourself? I love my body for all it can do for me. I love it for everything it can do for me. Doesn't that sound and feel so much better than what you were saying to yourself? Ugh, I need to go to the gym more. Ugh, I need to meal prep more. I'm not doing enough. No, I love myself. Now we start the journey of meal prepping. Now I start the journey of going to the gym. Now I start the journey of taking care of me. Now I start the journey of taking time to meditate every day or pray every day. Taking 2 to 5 minutes at a time if that's all I have. Creating that time for myself. Doing that. Doesn't that feel better than like hating on yourself consistently? I don't know. I trust that this video helped you. And please, if you're looking for like, I will start to like list maybe videos that have really helped me. And it's not because I'm looking for anything in return. I'm not. It's literally like I will always tell you what worked for me. This is what worked for me. This video in particular worked for me. This content in particular worked for me. This worked for me. Maybe it can work for you too if you're looking to make major changes in your life. And then also, I'm going to be creating courses of my own, courses of like what has worked for me. So for now, all my content on YouTube is absolutely free. Feel free to absorb what you need and leave the rest and go watch a variety. See what resonates with you. See what really clicks for you. So anyway, I trust this video helped you, and be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself. Just love yourself and know that you can still get whatever you want no matter what, with all the doubt, with all the fear, with all the, you know, these thoughts that you don't want. You can still get what you want. It's amazing what happens when you like include the loopholes and you're kinder to yourself. You gently talk to yourself, you gently affirm, and you gently tell yourself these things instead of being so harsh on yourself. And then keep your focus on self-love, because when you love yourself, when you feel that expansion of love from your heart and you cultivate love from within your heart, I do think that's when the magic starts to happen. Thank you so much, and namaste. I wish you well.